Hey everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Project Jupiter. It's the AI data center that's being built in Teresa, New Mexico right now. Now, the company behind this data center is called Oracle, and this data center is going to be the biggest in the United States out of the 3,000 that already exist or that are going to be built in the near future. There have been a lot of advertisements coming from the company to local New Mexicans in an effort to gain their support for the project. What we're going to be talking about today are a few of the things that are of concern for locals and that you should know about this project. We're going to talk firstly about Acoma LLC. Acoma LLC was a subsidiary tied to Oracle that used the Acoma Pueblo people's name without their consent or permission. Governor of the Acoma Pueblo, Charles Riley, points out there are several aspects of this that are offensive to the community, the people of the community. Firstly, the company never reached out to the Acoma Pueblo people or the tribal leaders about the use of the name. And they did not ever respond to the tribal leaders when they reached out to ask about this matter. Riley also notes that the company hasn't included any indigenous people in the conversations about planet Jupiter, and that the Acoma Pueblo people's belief systems do not align with that of the Project Jupiter, as it will likely have a negative effect on the land. The company has since changed their name to Yucca Growth Infrastructure. Now, many New Mexicans have expressed concerns over the environmental impacts of the project. As we all know, I think our first thought is water, because as we all know, there is not very much water in New Mexico. The lower Rio Grande River, for instance, is basically a river of sand all year round. And Elephant Butte Lake is 13% full this year as a result of a very small amount of snowfall last winter. Local pecan farmer Eddie Estrada, who has a property just 6 miles away from the site of Project Jupiter, has said many of his trees have died due to the fact that the water deliveries from the river have all but dried up. Estrada has to keep drilling deeper and deeper into the well because the water table in the area is dropping. Now, Project Jupiter has purchased the water rights of a local sod farm, and the company will look to be using about 1 million gallons of water per year. Now, these water rights provide the project with a certain amount of water of non-potable industrial well water usage per year. This well water mainly comes from an aquifer called the Mesilla Bolson Aquifer. And this aquifer also services Las Cruces, La Ciudad Juarez, and El Paso, Texas. The estimated amount of water currently in this aquifer is 65 million gallons. Now, if Project Jupiter was to use as much water as they are legally allowed to use every year, this aquifer could be depleted of all of its water within 40 years. Oracle doesn't really fully address this issue, though on their website they do mention they will not use any drinking water and that they will only use non-potable water to cool their servers. They've also implied that non-potable water has no other use, which unfortunately is simply not true. Some of the uses for non-potable water include watering crops or watering city parks and golf courses. It's used for cooling systems for factories and facilities. It's used for flushing toilets, for keeping the dust down and washing streets. It's used for commercial laundries and for filling fire sprinkler systems. So the reality is we don't really know how much water the center uses because the plan keeps changing. Originally, Project Jupiter said they were going to power the center by use of gas and diesel generators, but pushback from the community over greenhouse gas emissions forced the company to create a new plan. The new plan now is to work with a company called Bloom Energy and to use the oxide fuel cells that they manufacture to power the data center. Now, fuel cells aren't exactly green. They also use natural gas to run. While they can be converted to use hydrogen gas, Finding a sustainable source of hydrogen gas is very difficult, and hydrogen gas plants also come with the environmental issues of all their own. Now, the original plan to use generators would have created 14 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions, whereas the current plan to use fuel cells will emit 10 million tons of greenhouse gases, which is really not that much of a difference. Now, the lack of transparency is also become an issue as the company has not been fully honest with the community. There's a few lawsuits against companies that have worked with the community, including a lawsuit against a company called Elevate New Mexico, which is an anonymous out-of-state company behind the massive physical and digital ad campaign that urged New Mexicans to support the data center. The lawsuit alleges that Elevate New Mexico spent at least $2,500 to lobby NMEC to approve its air permit application during the public comment period in March. When it should have registered as a lobbyist association, as it is in violation of the State Lobbyist Act. The Source New Mexico also reported that Attorney General Raul Torres opened an investigation into allegations that written public comments supporting the pending permit application were fraudulently submitted under residents' real names using their real emails. Also, Representative Cristina Parajon told Source New Mexico that letter of support was made using her official legislative email as well, without her consent. So, as you can see, there are numerous reasons New Mexico need to be aware of the potential ramifications that can come from Project Jupiter. If you're thinking about giving your support for this AI data center, I urge you to look a little deeper because there's a lot more information out there than what I've shared with you guys today. Anyhow, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate your time. Take care.